Hey, what's good, YouTube family? Welcome to my channel. If you are seeing this face for the very first time, my name is Shella and I am an admitted attorney of the High Court of South Africa, and you are most welcome here. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. I truly appreciate your support. Now, today I'm going to be talking about the preparation for the competency-based admission exams, otherwise known as board exams. Now, I'm sharing with you this information that has helped me and I think will help you in your board exam preparation. If you are writing board exams for the very first time, or this is your second attempt, third, fourth, or whatever, this video is still for you. I'm sharing these tips and tricks because I myself have written some papers more than once. So I know what I'm talking about, okay? So get comfortable, grab a snack and a drink or a pen and a paper, and without wasting any more time, let's get into it. Firstly, the general stuff concerning board exams. The to-knows are there are 4 exams that you need to write. So you can't write one and not the other, or write 2 and leave the other 2. No, you need to write all 4 papers in order for you to be admitted. And the first paper is paper 1, which is court procedure. Paper 2, which is wills and estates. Paper 3 is attorney's practice, otherwise known as ethics, and paper 4 is bookkeeping. So those are the 4 papers that you need to write and pass in order for you to be admitted. So what happens is you register online to write your board exams. When registrations are open, you pay the fee and you register to write board exams. The fee is the same amount, whether you decide to write 1 exam, 2 exams, or all 4 exams, the registration amount is still the same. When you register for your board exams, register for the papers that you want to write. So if you want to write paper 1 and paper 2, on the form, like right at the end, it'll ask you to click how many papers you're writing. So you click maybe paper 1 and paper 3 if those are the papers that you're writing, or you click all 4 if all 4 are the papers that you're writing. But what you must not do is maybe click just paper 1 and then after registrations, like day before board exams, you decide, oh well, let me also give paper 2 and paper 3 another shot. No, you write the papers that you registered for. So for the papers that you did not register for, you are not allowed to sit and write. So your confirmation paper will show that you have registered for paper 1 and paper 4, and then those are the papers that you'll be allowed to write. But if you get there on the day that they're writing paper 3, they won't allow you to sit for that session. I've seen some people, they've registered for exams but they don't pitch up for the exam, and then automatically you just get 0, like you don't get another chance to write, like you don't bring a sick note like how you would in school or in university. No, if you didn't write the paper, you get 0, unless if there's special provisions that have been made that you'll have to speak to somebody from the legal practice council. But as far as I know, if you don't pitch up for the exam, you just get 0. And then as soon as you register, or even before you register, I think you would have decided which papers you're going to write, and then that's when you start your preparation. And let me tell you, prepare in time. Don't wait for the last minute to prepare for board exams, because board exams are not easy. I think if you know somebody that has written board exams, they will tell you of somebody they know who have written board exams more than once, or they themselves are somebody that has written board exams more than once. And I am somebody who has written paper 1 and paper 3 more than once. So don't undermine the workload and don't undermine the exams. So when I first wrote board exams, I clicked, or I said I'm going to write paper 1 and paper 3. So my confirmation paper said paper 1 and paper 3. So I was preparing for paper 1 and paper 3 in the most flimsy of manners. I think that was also attributed to the fact that, I just started with articles. So there was just a lot that was going on in my life. And I just took board exams very lightly. I think I did not put enough time into the studying and preparation for board exams. I was just like, well, it's court procedure. What could be so difficult? I'm already going to court. I'm already walking, living and breathing court procedure. what could be so difficult? So I really took it lightly, and I was like, well, paper 3, I mean, when I read through the coursework, I was like, well, I think I can do this. So I really underestimated the workload and, you know, the intensity, like not the intensity, but like the seriousness of the exams as a whole. I think I went in there with the mentality that I'm just writing some random test and, you know, something like that, but that's not how it is. So don't underestimate the workload or the time that goes into preparing for board exams. So then I wrote my first exams. I wrote paper 1, paper 3, and I failed. I failed both of them. Yes, I failed paper 1, I failed paper 3 on my first attempt. Now, when my results came, and I had to tell my principal because I took time off work to study for the exams. And let me tell you, in that time off from work, I don't want to lie, I mean, I didn't use much time to study. I underestimated the workload. And now it's like, you know, going back to my principal, like, oh, it didn't go so well, you know. That was also awkward. That was also awkward. But also, if you have, you know, failed board exams, this is not to make you feel some type of way. My principal, let me tell you what my principal said when I told my principal that I failed paper 1 and paper 3, and she was like, oh, me too, when I wrote board exams for the first time, I failed. And I was like, okay, all right. And here you are, successfully running your own law firm. So that's also, you know, some aid to somebody that might need it, that, you know, you don't have to get it right on the first try, but you don't have to repeat it if you properly prepare for it. And that was a wake-up call. I was like, did I really fail this badly? I think I got like my marks in like the 20s, early 30s at most. I can't really remember, because you get your marks via SMS. They send you an SMS with your marks, and when you pass all your board exams and you're preparing for admission, there are certificates that you attach to your application that shows that you have written board exams, but none of them show your marks. So for me, like, marks are not really like the important thing. I was just like, look, let me just get this over and done with, and period, let's just finish, you know. So I got my marks. They were really, really low. Like, I think nothing over 35%, if I'm being honest. Like, I can't remember anything being over 35. I think it was like 29 or like 31, but nothing over 35%. So that was really, really, really bad, and that was a wake-up call. So I decided that, you know what, I need to do better. And at that time, I'm thinking, well, should I take my papers for a remark? So for those of you that don't know, you can have your papers remarked. So what happens is you will receive your marks. They will send them via SMS. And then if you feel like your marks are, you know, low, or, you know, you didn't pass because, you know, you feel like the person who was marking didn't mark you correctly, and, you know, deep down in your heart, you believe that you know, deserve, somebody else needs to look at your paper and remark it, and maybe then you'll pass, then you can take your paper for a remark. There's a fee that you pay for that, and then I think you send an email and you just say, you know, you please remark this paper, whatever, and you send in your details. That information is usually available on the LPC website when you get your marks. So I was thinking, should I take my paper for a remark? But I'm like, if you didn't even get to 35, I don't think a remark will like push you to 50. So I was really contemplating it, and I was like, no. On my next attempt, I will do better. So next board exams come, the next dates come, and I'm like, let's register for all 4 papers. I'm really not sure why I did that, but it actually worked out better. It actually worked out for my good. I registered for all 4 board exams, and I was like, I'm taking my time for this. I'm going to prepare. I'm going to do everything and anything. And I'm going to discuss what it is that I did. But I just want to share this with you. So I was like, I am going to do it. I am going to write all 4 papers, because I know people have written all 4 papers and passed on their first attempt. And I was like, why can't I? I've already written paper 1 and paper 3. I have failed. I have somewhat started studying for, you know, paper 1 and paper 3. So I might as well just add like these 2. I have no idea why I just put myself under so much pressure, but like I said, it worked out for my good. So there I was, registered for all 4 board exams. Paper 4, I got a distinction. Paper 3, I almost got a distinction. I didn't get a distinction. I think I got around late 70s. I did very well for paper 2. Paper 3, I got a distinction for ethics on the second time. I think that's like one of my proudest things ever, like, because ethics was so bad for me the first attempt, and it is for so many other people. Just getting a distinction in ethics is like, girl, you did that. And then paper 1, I failed. No, I did not fail. I got an oral. But at that point, it felt like a fail, because it was like I wrote the first time and I failed. Now I'm writing a second time and I didn't pass. Like, what do you mean? You know, so I did not pass paper 1 on my second attempt. I got 49.5%, no lie. And I had to go for an oral. And at that point, I'm like, should I take it for a remark? And I think, you know, 49.5 is like a good mark for a remark. But at that time, I didn't have money for a remark. And secondly, I was scared. Like, I was somewhat scared. I was like, what if I take it for a remark and it takes me to like 40 and it's like a fail? But I was like, you know what? Since, you know, the oral is free, I might as well just do the oral. Let me not take it for a remark. Let me not be lazy. Let me go for the oral because the oral is free. I didn't have money. And I passed the oral exam. Yes, I passed the oral exam. So oral exam is a totally different story. But this is what I did. When preparing for board exams, firstly, like I said, don't underestimate the workload. Proper preparation truly does prevent poor performance. Another thing that is so important, and I think this one is overlooked by people when they study. I'm going to tell you this for free. You are going to need way more material than you receive at, you know, law school, because there are you know, materials, books and stuff that you receive from law school that are to help you with your board exam preparations. But I'm going to tell you that you will need way more than what you receive in law school. On my first attempt with board exams, I just studied the material that we received at law school. And let me not even lie. I'm gonna just be honest on this video. Let me not even lie. Some of the work that I saw, or some of the things that I saw in the paper, I did not see in the books that I received from law school. Truth, fact. And another thing also, the reason why I repeated, you know, the 2 board exams was because I did not do past papers. Now, the things that were not in the book, you know, or the things that, you know, I didn't see in my coursework, I would have passed had I done past papers. So this is what I mean. So for paper 3, if you just take the ethics booklet, because you get booklets at law school, if you just take the ethics booklet for paper 3, you are not going to pass. This thing that paper 3 is just ethics is not true. Paper 3 is nicknamed ethics, but it's actually attorneys. What is it called? It's called attorney's practice. So if you just take the ethics booklet and you just study that, you will be surprised, because that's what happened to me. I was surprised. And when I got out of the exam, I was very like angry. I was like, well, isn't paper 3 ethics? I barely saw any questions on ethics. So that's not how you do it. Don't just read the ethics booklet and think that that is paper 3, because that is not paper 3. So the attorney's practice involves everything. You might get questions that you feel like belong in a paper 1, you know, question paper, in your paper 3 question paper, because paper 3 essentially encompasses everything about the attorney's practice. It encompasses drafting. You'll also find, you know, motor vehicle accident questions in there, and you'll probably be like, why motor vehicle questions in there? Isn't that covered in paper 1? But no, paper 3 covers it all, covers the drafting of, you know, certain contracts and auxiliary documents. It covers you know, literally everything, even court practice, even calculation of damages. all of which you might think belong in some or other paper, you will find in paper 3. So paper 3 is essentially everything concerning the attorney's practice, and it also contains ethics, the ethical part of things. So don't just go with the mentality that paper 3 is ethics, because you are going to fail. That is the truth coming from me to you. You're going to fail. So prepare adequately. With that said, don't spot though. Don't be that person that spots like, oh, I think this is going to come out, oh, that's going to come out, oh, this is not going to come out. Hey, don't be that person. Don't spot. If you see questions that have been repeated over a number of years, with the past papers, if you see those type of questions, just make sure that you do them. Don't be like, well, because they've been repeated so much, they're not going to take them out this year. No, board exams are very, very unpredictable. So just make sure that you're diligent in your past papers as well, but at the same time, don't spot. And when it comes to past papers, you can get the past papers on the Legal Practice Council website. That's where you get past papers. So doing past papers really assisted me in getting the marks that I got. And for paper 2, that is wills and estate, please know the L&D account. If there's one thing you should know for that paper, it's the L&D account. You need to know how to do an L&D account. So they will give you the theory part of things, and they will tell you about this person's deceased estate, and you need to know how to do the L&D for in accordance with the example. Know and practice that, because that's essentially the majority of the paper. I've never seen a past paper where the L&D account counts for less than 50. So already in some papers it counts for like 70 plus. On some papers is in the 60s. Some is like 58. So already just knowing the L&D is a pass for that paper. And if you don't know the L&D, I don't know how you will pass, because if the L&D is like 75 and you know everything else but the L&D, are you going to pass? You are not going to pass. Like literally, you're not going to pass. So you need to know the L&D. And then with paper 4, I know a lot of people dread paper 4, but paper 4 is not difficult. Everyone just thinks, oh, accounting or maths and things like that. And that is not true. Bookkeeping has got nothing to do with maths. It looks like it, but it really isn't. If I could pass bookkeeping with a distinction even, you can do it as well on your first attempt. Bookkeeping essentially, in all honesty, is about placing the right amount on the right columns. That's it. If there's anything you take away from this video, it's this. Bookkeeping is about placing the right amounts at the right columns, and then you're just gonna add at the end. Simple, basic. There's no multiplication, there's no division, there's no intricate mathematical calculations when it comes to bookkeeping. And you get marks for putting in the right entries on the journals. That's it. That's where the marks come from. The marks don't essentially come from the final answer. I've seen with a lot of people and a lot of past papers that you can get the final answer, like the answers don't balance, because on the right side and the left side the answers need to be the same. You could literally have 2 different answers and still pass. Why? Because it's not about the calculation per se. It's about putting in the right entries. So if you put in one entry on the right column, that's already a mark. It doesn't have to add up at the end, if you understand what I mean. Not that it shouldn't. I mean, it should. That shows that the whole entry is correct. But if your entries don't add up at the bottom, it's not like if the question is out of 20, it's not like you lose the whole 20 marks. No. If you have put in certain things correctly, you will get marked correctly for that. So when people dread bookkeeping, be that one person that does not dread it, because truly, 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 it's not difficult. And for those of you that can afford to get a tutor, I do recommend that you do get a tutor, only if you can afford it. I passed without getting a tutor, what I did was I used to attend the free sessions. There used to be free sessions from Nadel. So if you look at the Nadel website, you can see when those sessions are. It's usually close to board exam time, so you can do that. But if you can afford a tutor, or if you can find one that is affordable, please do get a tutor, because just having somebody, you know, walk with you through this whole thing really makes things so much easier. So after extensive preparation for board exams, you know, practicing the L&D and, you know, knowing your stuff for bookkeeping, knowing your theory for ethics, and, you know, doing past papers and just diligently preparing for the exams, one of the most important things that you need to do is relax and block out the noise. I know this for a fact. When it comes to board exam season, because a lot of people are panicking, because a lot of people are internalizing other people's experience, there's a lot of fear and a lot of, like, I don't know, heaviness around the board exam time. I don't know if somebody can attest to this, but there's like a lot of heaviness and a lot of panic during the board exam time. So one thing that you should do for yourself is reduce the noise. Don't internalize people's experiences. Don't be like, well, Shella failed on the first attempt, who am I to pass? No. Don't internalize anybody else's experience. This is your experience. This is your journey. Truly, I say this to you. Failing board exams is not the end of the world. If failing board exams was the end of the world, my principal wouldn't have her law firm. I wouldn't be admitted because I also failed, you know. So don't, like I said, don't internalize anybody else's experience, and don't ever feel like it's the end of the world. It truly isn't. It might feel like it for a little while, but really, in all honesty, it isn't. You will get admitted as an attorney of the High Court of South Africa. Yes, I said it. A prophecy from me to you, free of charge. Free of charge, you will get admitted as an attorney of the High Court of South Africa. Just keep at it and keep moving. Keep studying. If you need assistance, don't be scared to reach out. You can reach out to me. You can drop down into the comments, or you can send me an email, and I will assist you as best as I possibly can for free. I mean, I'm not going to charge you for, you know, giving you advice about board exams, because I know how difficult and stressful that time is. So just seek help, and if there are people who are offering their services that you need to pay for, and you feel like the price is reasonable and you can afford it, truly go for it. But just make sure that while you're preparing for board exams, you're also not neglecting yourself. What good is it for you to write board exams while you yourself, you're not okay? Doesn't make any sense. So while you're writing board exams, also just take care of yourself and understand that you're doing the best that you possibly can, and you will get to being admitted as an attorney of the High Court of South Africa. And with that said, I truly hope that this video was helpful to you, and I hope that you enjoyed it just as much as I had fun bringing forth this information to you. And I hope that your preparation for board exams will go very well, and you will come back with a testimony that you have passed your board exams. And with that said, I'm sending you tons of love and light until my next video. Bye.